Say something real.
Good morning. Good morning. What's happening? Welcome to the show. It is Michelle Bryant here, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real and Real Talk. The man who escaped from prison in New Orleans is a whole fool, but that's
hilarious. Dude.
Catch me if you can.
I'm sorry. We was looking at that before the show started this morning, and so it's top of mind. I just want to send a plea to Antoine Massey, his cousins, anybody that know him.
I know some Masseys too.
I do too.
Yeah, right here in the city.
Yeah, right here in the city.
Bruh,
Some in Tennessee.
you stupid.
A whole fool. Yeah, a whole fool for that.
If there's still any young people on their way to school this morning, do not use my words. Use better words. Use better words. But this dude got these crazy tattoos on his face that make him highly recognizable. Like, I don't know if that's the Eiffel Tower in the middle of his forehead, but he got 3 tattoos on his face, prominently featured.
So we don't need like facial recognition.
No,
for this
and he light skin.
I already recognize.
Oh boy, what is wrong with you, man? And then you trying to plead your case. So
He's the only one that's still at large, isn't he?
I think it's 2.
Is it
It's him and his other dude
I think
named
it's 2.
Derek Rose or Bro.
Derek? Not Derek.
Derek, bro. Derek from the East Side.
But you see, they've been arresting family members and friends of these people.
They're getting them all.
Who they
Line
said
them up.
was helping them.
You help.
I'm not going to tell you right
You
now.
show up at my
I'm
house.
not.
Please, I'm calling them people. What
I'm
y'all want me to do? How y'all want me to handle this? He right outside.
I'm gonna have a note on the door and in the yard. Day. Don't come up. I'm calling the police. Don't come up in this yard, boy.
I remember one time my uncle was on the run, dude. This was the funniest thing.
God.
This was the funniest thing in the world, right?
Your uncle was on the.
I ain't gonna say who he was.
This dude.
But my uncle was on the run, right? He showed up at the house. We all outside playing. He come running around the corner, run up to the yard, run in the house, run up to the attic, right? So we looking like, what's going on? Like this dude running, hiding in the attic, like what's happening?
It was literally running.
Listen, 2 minutes later, you hear police siren. They come right, follow him right up the same steps he took through the back, up to the steps, right to the attic, and got his full. To this day, I ain't never forgot that. That was the funniest ever. I ain't gonna say who he was.
What y'all gonna do? Do I know him?
You know.
Oh, then I know who it was.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I know who it was already.
You already know.
Don't do that. Don't tell me. Don't include him because he don't.
I don't play fair.
No,
I tell you, that was the funniest.
Let me say good morning. Hey Shelby, I saw you tap in this morning. Good morning to Debo and to the absconder's nephew. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. How you bros doing this morning?
We are great.
And which one of y'all is related to Mr. Massey? Somebody just gonna tell me.
I feel like Debo might be related.
I'm not related, but I know some Masseys.
I feel like Debo's
quite a few Masseys around here, y'all know.
It's a lot of Masseys.
Yeah,
I've seen the name quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, y'all, Antoine, like,
turn yourself in.
I mean, and he posted videos yesterday.
Idiot, Joe. That cat is an idiot. I don't care how much you try to plead your case.
Or no, he's on Instagram posting videos. Like, dude, you highly recognizable, bro.
You want
and
it.
this is one of the
phones
12
have locations.
Exactly,
that
13 that escaped from New Orleans. From prison down in New Orleans. And it's just like, or Louisiana's like, bruh, what are you doing? Man, I ain't hurt that guard. I ain't forced that guard to do nothing. And my DV case,
but you escaped. You on the run.
It don't matter.
Right.
You escaped. It don't matter what
if everything you said is true.
It don't even matter because
you had no business leaving you should have been like, y'all done.
Hey, man.
Y'all gonna run.
I'd have been out to the side like, I'll see y'all in about 10 days.
when y'all get back.
Y'all gonna get back. I seen about 10 days.
mean, and the likelihood is like, dude, you probably wasn't serving a life sentence
At all. Probably 4, 5, 7 years.
I mean, I don't know, but you probably wasn't serving a life sentence.
Oh, but they gonna
Derek
get you
Groves is
Yep.
the other person that's still at large.
They gonna get you now.
$50K has been put on their head.
Yep.
$50K. So you got the phone from somewhere to go Instagram live.
Hey, I'll be 50K richer right now.
Whoever phone that was.
I'm just saying.
It's probably his, man. Because these cats get out
and
and act like they free. Like, dude, you ain't free.
Some lawyer can tell myself, and Louisiana law prohibits incarcerated individuals from establishing or maintaining accounts on social networking websites. Oh, wait, you think that
Right now I'm free.
Well,
Yeah,
wait,
on accident.
but is that really the charge we worried about right now?
No,
That you
that
had an
ain't the one.
Instagram account?
Dummy.
Boy, y'all be smarter. Be smart.
Because that's like a whole nother felony.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a whole nother charge. You escape a federal prison.
But he looks so crazy. I mean, his face look a fool with these tattoos. Why you mark up your
He should have
face
just
like
turned
that?
state. He should have just turned state and told on
So
everybody.
he got a tattoo on his forehead and then one on
He
each
should have
cheek.
did a Jermaine and just went
I'm
state on
telling.
him.
Are we back to that?
I'm telling.
We back to you being a
Snitcheroo.
snitch. Jermaine,
Snitch or rufflers.
be better.
I'm telling. I'm telling.
I wish one of them would show up at my door. I'd take that 50
You better believe
because
it.
I'm gonna call and be like, hey, he outside, y'all. Listen, hey, hi, I'm gonna let him in.
No, I'm gonna put him in the
I'm gonna
car.
Fix him some
And I'm
bacon
gonna
and
tell him that we
eggs
going
and
to go get
sausage.
something. I'm putting him in the car that we finna go get something to eat and hang out. And I'm
Really?
gonna drive you right over to 7th District.
You
Nah,
don't think
nah.
he gonna know?
You gotta let them pull you over as a traffic stop so he don't
don't
know.
All
think-
right,
He gonna know.
well, tell you what, I'll be in the car just swerving. Listen to music, swerving on the island. I'm
He
driving
like, dude,
sideways.
You
chill,
know,
man. You know I'm wanted, man. You know I'm on the
why y'all
run.
gotta do all of that?
I want the bread.
Why?
That
Give me
50K I could use.
I'm just saying, real G's. Hey, bro,
I'm snitching.
go on upstairs, take you a bath, you dirty, and I'm calling the police while you in the house. Hey.
So are you gonna tell him?
I mean,
I'm
I ain't
calling
gonna
before he
tell
get
him,
in there. I want
but
him
I'm
on their
like-
way. I don't want him in there that long.
no, you come on in, get you a bath,
Or just hold him.
So you ain't gonna put the note outside in the backyard like you said
Oh,
you
I'll
would.
do that too. But if you still crazy enough and come in, then I'm just saying I will definitely,
Oh,
be
you know
telling
he
him.
ain't had no steak in a while. So
Hey,
a
go
piece
put
of
that
steak-
note on there. If you come in here,
Put a piece.
you are subject to arrest. You will be subject to arrest because I'm snitching.
Well, so I just wanted to say that a public service announcement. Like, don't be stupid. Don't. Just come on, fam. Be smarter. Like, they didn't know where you were.
Until you.
And now you out here
Michelle,
posting and like
I just looked at this. I wanted to ask you about this.
what?
Did they really have like Trojan situation where them Ukrainians had some stuff that opened up and the drones came out and attacked these people?
So, let me just be
Lord,
clear
that's
that the
crazy.
weaponry is real.
Yeah.
What they have available to them, again, is a fool.
They had
gave it
some
to 'em,
like
though.
boxes or something with,
Yeah.
and they
Yes.
automatically opened up and the drones came out.
Yeah.
That has been reported, and because the damage that they did inside, as they targeting locations inside Russia now is real. So yes, that is, I don't have anything other to say than that. Yes.
They tried the big boy, little dude, and little dude ain't going so easily.
Well, I mean, but the thing is number one, Ukraine's hands is being freed up on the type of weaponry they can use
Mhm.
because the U.S. and allied nations were actually trying to tell them, like, nah, you can't pull out the big guns. We're not going to give you access to these types of weapons, trying to control some of what was happening. And finally, people like, man, this dude is up against Russia. Russia's not going to play fair. They're not going to honor peace agreements, peace talks. They want to strip these people, and finally, not the U.S., but some of our foreign allies or Ukraine's allies, have said, man, go ahead, do what y'all got to do. And we'll get y'all what we can to help y'all in the fight. So that's the thing that's the craziest. But yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more sophisticated weaponry come out as a result of people just being tired of Vladimir Putin. Like, they tired of him, and they tired of the U.S.'s nonsense in supporting Vladimir.
Yeah.
But Donald say he ain't listening to him.
I mean,
can you
but
believe
how
anything
long
he
did
can
it
say?
take us to get to this point? where Donald now finally got something, he looking at Vladimir sideways. He's enabled all of this mess.
Yeah.
He's enabled it. Ever since he got in office, even before he got elected, Putin understood you got carte blanche in this country.
Is that what it was called? Operation Spiderweb?
Yeah. The tentacles reaching out all over and getting ready to snatch you up. But yeah, so that needs to be talked about. I had somebody hit me up in my comments yesterday about the
Michelle,
bombing.
Look
What?
Look out the window. Bonnet sighting.
Oh my God.
You don't see that bonnet?
Yeah.
I see it.
I know that usually makes your blood
But
boil.
why she got a suitcase?
It looks like she getting ready to travel. Maybe she went out of town.
She walking and traveling?
She might be catching the bus.
She finna go
They
dance.
go downtown.
She going to dance.
Why that's a big old suitcase to be going to dance.
No, it ain't.
To go dance.
She got a bunch of costumes in there.
Yeah, you got
So why a black woman gotta be going to
Boots.
dance because she walking through the hood with a suitcase?
bonnet on.
And the
see how
bonnet.
y'all
And
acting
the
right
bonnet.
now?
And
Well,
the bonnet.
Do you see how you acting right
Just
now?
from my experience?
Do you see how you acting
No,
right now?
it's just from my experience. No,
You
seriously.
talking about when you was pimping?
No, bro. No. See, listen, though, when
I
you
can't
pull up.
stand
No,
you.
listen, though,
See?
when you pull up at the Greyhound early in the morning, you
Uh-huh.
you see
But we're
that.
not at the Greyhound.
I know, but listen, you see that type of
I
stuff.
see it.
And then when you have the conversations with them, though, you find out that they coming from
I'm on my way to
everywhere
Iowa.
dance, or I'm heading
I-
here to dance here. So yeah,
We're not gonna apply that.
I tried to pick
We're
up.
not
a
gonna
couple of them,
apply
holler at
that
them.
Kind of
general
rare on a Tuesday, but
stereotype and
No,
assumption.
it is rare for a
No,
Tuesday.
you got to
isn't
get
it?
money every day.
We are not going to apply
I didn't apply
that
The suitcase
to
and the
the
bonnet.
sister. We're not gonna apply that.
You getting upset?
Yeah. Because now we got her on the pole. First, she just, you
I
out
like
here,
the pole.
you out here with a bonnet,
I like
but
the
now
pole.
we got you on. Like, we ain't gonna do that. Y'all need to cut it out.
Hey man, I got a.
Michelle.
All right. So anyway,
We can use this pole.
moving on.
No, that pole won't hold nothing.
Moving on. I swear to
Wow.
God, y'all gonna mess around and get busted out y'all here.
During the break.
Again, young people, don't do what I do. See, now somebody else want to get in on it. She may be taking the bus, the Route 12 to the Greyhound Amtrak station.
Yeah.
But they said they need to stop. Yeah. See, people listen to y'all.
I'm
Y'all
just
need to cut it
saying.
out. No, don't say it.
Was them Daisy Dukes she
Hey,
had on?
That was kind of short, man. I saw. Something.
If I say it again,
I ain't gonna say
I'm gonna
nothing.
get out this
I ain't
chair.
gonna say nothing. I don't
If I
want
say something again,
Oh,
I'm gonna get out this chair.
And she punched hard
Jackie
too.
gonna be
She
mad.
punched hard.
and
Dude,
whatever-
hit hard. She hits hard,
You
folks.
know, whatever relationship you in, she
she-
gonna be mad.
yeah, she hit you
If
like-
I get out this chair,
Hey,
if
Jermaine,
I
she
get
hit you
out
like
this
big
chair,
bruh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
She
hit
punched
you like
hard.
Like,
Big
I ain't
Mama.
playing.
That's who.
She punched hard too.
All right, so let me talk about this. Let me
My grandma
move
ain't
y'all
never hit me
quickly
that
away
hard.
from this foolishness, y'all. I was intrigued at a new conversation that is happening out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So this period, the Tulsa race massacre that happened back in 1921 is in the headlines. Why? We talk about it all the time. The Gap Band, originates out of Tulsa. The letters stand for the streets. GAP stands for different streets in Tulsa that the band members were from. And they give deference, pay homage to the Tulsa bombing. And you dropped a bomb on me. How many of us shook our butts to that dance, to that music, never understanding what the song was all about? And so here's a story that caught my eye out of the New York Times. The Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921, one of the most horrific episodes of racial violence in U.S. history. U.S. history killed up to 300 Black residents and destroyed a neighborhood. More than a century later, the city's mayor announced a $105 million reparations package on Sunday, the first large-scale plan committing funds to address the impact of the atrocity. Now, this is the part that I wanted to get to. This is the part. Monroe Nichols, the first Black mayor of Tulsa, unveiled the sweeping project named Road to Repair. It is intended to chip away at enduring disparities caused by the massacre and its aftermath in the Greenwood neighborhood and the wider North Tulsa community in Tulsa, Oklahoma. In the history of Tulsa, they now have their first Black mayor. And under this first Black mayor, we now talking about some type of reparations for what was done to this Black neighborhood in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The centerpiece of the project is the creation of the Greenwood Trust, a private charitable trust with the goal of securing $105 million in assets, including private contributions, property transfers, and possible public funding by next spring, the 105th anniversary of the attack. So this mayor is looking at a creative way by which to get dollars into this fund to be able to address more than 100 years of systemic, disparities that were created after you go in. And we actually have a U.S. city being bombed by the U.S. military. It's never happened before or since. A U.S. city being bombed by the U.S. military. The plan does not include direct cash payments to the last two known survivors of the massacre, who are 110 and 111 years old. But such payments could be considered by the Trust Board of Trustees, according to a spokeswoman for the city. Mr. Nichols, who announced the creation of the trust fund at a gathering in Tulsa to commemorate the city's first Tulsa Race Massacre Observance Day, said they plan to restore Greenwood, a neighborhood that was so prosperous before the attack that it inspired the name Black Wall Street, was long overdue. 104 years is far too long for us not to address the harm of the massacre, Mr. Nichols said in an interview before the announcement. He added that the effort was really about what has been taken from a people and how do we restore that as best we can in 2025, proving we are much different than we were in 1921. Unlike some similar efforts by cities, states, and universities across the country to establish reparations, the plan in Tulsa directly addresses the impact of a specific historical event. The movement for reparations addressing slavery and the country's history of racism gained traction in 2020 when the murder of George Floyd prompted a nationwide conversation about racial justice. Many of the proposals are still being explored through large segments of the U.S. population. Though large segments of the U.S. population oppose reparations. And we want to be clear about who those large segments are. See, I like the general way the New York Times wrote that, because if you ask the majority of Black people, I know they don't oppose reparations. So this wording, large segments of the U.S. population, tell the truth about who we talking about. You think about what happened in Maryland with Governor Westmoreland, and he vetoed legislation that would have created a commission to study reparations. And, he said, it's because, we didn't have enough studies. No, Maryland has not had a specific study, bruh. We've had national studies. Maryland being one of the original 13 colonies. No, we've not had that. And I listen to folks try to give Westmore a pass. You don't get no pass from me. The state of California apologized last year for the discriminatory treatment of Black Americans and approved some reparations initiative, but stopped short of financial restitution. Evanston, Illinois, became the first American city to establish a reparations program in 2021, distributing housing grants meant to make up for past discriminatory housing practices. The program is funded by the city's cannabis sales tax and by real estate taxes. Last year, the city was sued by a conservative organization, which argued that the program was unconstitutional because it discriminated against non-Black residents. The case is pending. So let me just break from the story for a second. So we are doing things to address systemic discrimination. And now you have a white conservative group coming forward and saying, no, but it discriminates against everybody else. The fact that people don't feel like, and this conversation is relevant as we are now getting ready to roll into June 19th. The fact that people still don't believe that somebody should be held accountable, that there should be things that the American government does to rectify the inequities and the problems of institutionalized slavery that they co-signed for, that was legal here. Discrimination was legal in this country. And the fact that people don't feel like there should be restitution made. We create restitution in cases where people are aggrieved every day. So the story goes on. In Tulsa, the Greenwood Trust resources will be divided into 3 general areas. $24 million for a housing fund for home ownership and housing assistance, $60 million for cultural preservation fund, building improvements and cleaning up the blight, 21 million for land acquisition and development, small business grants and scholarships. As a part of the program, the city intends to release 45,000 pages of historical documents related to the 1921 massacre, including Greenwood property records. Mayor Nichols will act as a spokesman for the trust, but fundraising will be handled by an executive director whose salary will be paid by private funding. The city council would have to approve any public money or city-owned land used by the trust. Mayor Nichols acknowledged that residents might not support a project that uses public funds. So he has been working on addressing a framework to look at the disparities created by the massacre with help from the city's legal department. So it goes on to say a lot more, but just understand, when Greenwood is at its heyday, restaurants, theaters, hotels, grocery stores, homes. And then on May 31st, that's why this conversation is also relevant. On May 31st and on June 1st, a white mob descended on that district and burned it to the ground. 1,250 homes were destroyed and 35 blocks were razed. 35 blocks. A federal report issued in January recast the massacre as a coordinated military-style attack by white citizens, not the work of an uncontrolled mob. The toll was devastating, beyond death and destruction. To many historians, civil rights lawyers, and activists, that single event entrenched economic, educational, and health disparities in Greenwood and North Tulsa for generations. So again, we know that there have been people that have fought for reparations, that have fought for redress, for people to make this right. And I think that it is interesting. And see, this was the fear. This was the fear when Barack Obama became president. This is the fear anytime a Black person ascends to a point of power where you can influence and direct the outcome of certain political agendas, activities, policies, laws. You're going to do something for your own. You're going to do something for Black people. So Barack Obama walked that tightrope, that you have to always make it appear I'm not showing favoritism. I'm not doing anything exclusionary. But the reality is that the policies were exclusionary. The policies were targeted. And I applaud this African American mayor who is willing to understand the nuance of dealing with the public and public money and public perception, but also the need to address the fact that no, some of this was a coordinated attack in which the city, the state, and the federal government participated in attacking this community. I'm here to do something about it. Oh my God. Jermaine, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, when did the white people start feeling like it's not fair?
I mean,
Because they did all of this. They burnt down Black Wall Street. They burnt.
well, what they
down-
will say is like white people today.
Yeah. So
We
I'm
didn't
trying
do it, but you've been the direct beneficiary
But when
of many of it.
But when did they start feeling like stuff is not fair? Because it ain't been fair for us for years.
I mean, it's just like the mess with the white farmers coming from South Africa. Y'all know y'all was sitting on stolen land. You know you was. You know your ancestors rolled over in there so that they could take advantage of the apartheid system. 72% of all land in South Africa is owned by 7% of 7% of the white people that live in South Africa own 72% of the land. Y'all
and they
know.
keep it in their family. So
And they
you,
keep, yeah.
So you pass it down.
Right.
So
the one thing Nelson Mandela didn't do, get the land back. As soon as we flipped the clerk and got him out of there, get the land back. But but because too many times when you become the somebody said don't forget the black banks, absolutely.
Yeah.
In Tulsa. But too many times when you get in these roles, I've got to feel like I'm being fair. As a black person, I don't want anyone to judge me and saying I'm doing something special for black people. And so they walk this crazy line. But white people in office do stuff for white people every day. And they do stuff that directly gonna hurt black people all the time.
Purposely.
All the time. And they don't be worried. They don't be worried. What Donald Trump is doing in the White House right now is intended to help and benefit white people every day. At least white people of a certain financial ilk. Because the low income white people, he don't care about y'all. He do not care about y'all. This is just, I need to use y'all to keep the angst and the unrest while I steal all y'all money out y'all pockets and off y'all land and out y'all 401ks and
That's generational wealth.
Yeah, I strip y'all of y'all ability to really prosper. So, but I really don't care about y'all. When I tell you the one thing that just did my heart good when I looked at this story is to see people that's black that's not afraid to lead. Because that in part is one of the reasons people elect y'all and put y'all in place. Because we need representation. We need voices and we need people that deliver. That's where I get in trouble with so many, black elected officials and folks, that run for, office. And I'm like, where the hell is the record? I don't care that you was in the building if did nothing get done. Where is the record? Don't be asking me for a job promotion if you can't show me a record of accomplishment. And I appreciate that you are in a situation where the governor, now right now we got in Wisconsin, the governor is a Democrat, but the legislature is controlled by Republicans. The courts had been controlled by Republicans, and some people were like, so it's hard to get something done. Tell that to Lena Taylor, who passes over 100 bills. Tell that to Lena. So I'm not interested in your lip service and these little fake bills that you introduce that ain't going nowhere. And it's okay to do a messaging bill every now and then because you need to be able to talk about it and raise awareness. But way too many people, particularly black legislators, they fine with not getting nothing accomplished for real. Just talking about it. So hats off to this brother in Tulsa who said we're going to figure out a creative workaround to address what was done in 1921 to the residents of this community. I got to take a break, y'all. I'll be right back.
You are in news.
Since returning to the White House, President Trump has made rolling back diversity a top priority, cutting back Black history programs, canceling MLK Day celebrations, and only welcoming white South African, quote, refugees. His Justice Department is now investigating Chicago's black mayor after he spoke proudly about hiring black staff. And yet, it was voters of color, especially black and Latino men, who helped fuel Trump's comeback win. During his inauguration speech on MLK Day, Trump thanked Black and Hispanic communities for what he called a, quote, tremendous outpouring of love and trust. And exit polls show he made gains among Black men and won a majority of Latino male voters. So here's the question. Do some Black voters regret backing Donald Trump? There's no clear polling yet, but it's a question many may be asking as Trump's policies appear to reward the rich while sidelining racial equity. For AURA News, I'm Jamie Jackson.
Here's your updated forecast. We'll see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms possible late today. Otherwise, increasing cloud cover with a high in the mid-80s. Winds out of the south increased around 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 35. For tonight, a chance for showers and storms, cloudy, a low near 57. By Wednesday, a chance for rain showers early on, cloudy, high of 62 degrees. Thursday, partial sunshine, a high of 69. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on AM 860, The Voice.
Whether you're grilling burgers at the cabin or roasting hot dogs around a campfire, Village Hearth and Artisan Hearth buns and rolls are a summertime essential. With so many varieties to choose from, including classic white and wheat, unsliced old-fashioned, brioche, gourmet French, and flavorful onion, Village Hearth and Artisan Hearth has the buns and rolls your family will love. Village Hearth and Artisan Hearth, baked locally and delivered fresh daily.
Save big on everything for your next painting project when you shop at Menards. Maximize your curb appeal with Dutch Boy Max Bond Plus exterior paint. It provides max adhesion and is designed to stand strong against weather extremes, repelling rain in just 90 minutes after application. Save big money on Dutch Boy paints. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
The Granville Blues, R&B, and Gospel Fest 10th anniversary is the party that never ends. 2 weekends back to back, June 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Then June 27th, 28th, and 29th, each day from 12 noon until 10 p.m. There will be food, fun, shopping, and great music all in one place. 8633 West Brown Deer Road, rain or shine. This event is free and open to the public. So tell a friend to meet you at the Granville Blues, R&B, and Gospel Fest 10th anniversary. Remember, it's the party that never ends.
Don't scroll past summer. Experience it live at Summerfest because it's more than just a music festival. It's your summer highlight reel. Don't miss Summerfest, June 19th to July 5th. Presented by American Family Insurance. Get tickets at summerfest.com.
860 AM, 106.5 FM. WNOV, The Voice.
1, 2, testing 1, 2. All right, party people in the place to be. The party is already started.
And I got all my sisters with me. And I love this time. Oh, this is ladies' night.
Now, back to Say Something Real with your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. Let me just say, I listened to the news story that was in that commercial break, and the timing couldn't have been crazier. The timing could not have been crazier. I mean, and the fact that it's delivered is delivered from a non-African American who says, "Yeah, you Negroes voted for him,
Yeah.
bruhs. You and the Latinos, y'all helped him, to some extent with his success, and he thanked y'all. Want to thank you, you great black people. Ain't none of y'all getting no jobs, but I want to thank y'all."
I want to thank you, dum dum.
And so now, the question was posed: is there buyer's remorse? Is there, and
Absolutely.
Jermaine said during the break, it was not uncommon to hear, some brothers talking about they didn't want a woman to be president. They worried about her menstrual cycle and a period, and all of the stereotypes that you some hysterical crazy person because you have a period. But I'm like, but these is the same, women who have raised many of y'all.
It's some brothers that be on their cycle.
Yeah, went to work
Man,
every
for real,
day.
man.
Built homes, bought homes, educated y'all, was able to send y'all behind to school.
Carried the household.
Carried it. But now a woman ain't capable of leading. But the reason why you studied is because a woman in a lot of these scenarios was the individual that was holding stuff down. Like the level of ignorance is too much. But the timing of that was crazy.
And
it was crazy.
And it was funny because as I sat here and watched your face when you listened to it, it was just like a oh my God moment.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it was a oh my God moment, and it was like it was just like you said, it was a slap in the face because again, here we are pushing back on everything that Trump is doing to the people, and he's taking away Medicaid and Medicare and all this other stuff that he's trying to push, and Black History Month and all this other stuff that he's taking away. But we pushing back now, knowing that it's enemies in our camp.
Yeah,
because it's because of them and a couple other people that actually pushed this man.
Like I said,
over the line.
Meech's gonna call here every time and find a way to defend Trump, defend Republicans, defend the administration. You just can't never. You gonna make Hispanic and Latinos the enemy instead of the actual enemy that we're looking
himself.
at.
Yeah.
And then there were a number of Latino folks that did not support Kamala Harris. I think that misogyny or sexism also played a role in some of that too. I'm not gonna say it was like just racism. They didn't want a Black person. But I think the fact that she was a female made it a harder pill to swallow. And we do know that we got people in the Latino community that identify white. That's where they feel like, life is gonna be better for them. But I was watching the 18-year-old young man who just got picked up by ICE in Massachusetts. I don't know if it was over the weekend. I know they had the protest rally yesterday, but ICE says we picking up illegals. This young Hispanic man's father had a history of reckless driving, according to ICE. Now, does that make you a violent gang member criminal? But, if you've been the victim of the reckless driving, you might be inclined to say, yeah. So they see the car that dude typically drives. They pull over the car, even though the car at that time was not breaking any laws. When they get the car pulled over, the father is not in the car, but his 18-year-old high school son, Marcelio Gomez da Silva, is in the car. And Marcelio don't have a criminal record. He in high school. In fact, he's a junior in high school. They said, well, yeah, you got to get arrested anyway, though, bro, because you're in the country illegally. But he was brought to the country at the age of 5. So even at the age of 5, he didn't break any law. He been here 13 years. His parents, his people, somebody brought him here. He himself didn't break a law. And so then they say, well, we didn't say he broke any laws. We said he's in the country illegally. But supposedly the push is against violent offenders, the gang, MS-77, whoever y'all, claim y'all look. I know who y'all looking for. But this baby that's in high school is now sitting, and they had to hurry up and issue a 72-hour hold so that they wouldn't deport this young man potentially back to Mexico or to a prison, for Christ's sake. Can you imagine an 18-year-old child being sent to a prison? And then the other thing, for parents, the sins of the father. For parents, this boy is on these people. Gets hemmed up because your daddy out here acting a fool. And you done got caught up. But it's a whole bunch of Hispanics, to the point of that news clip, that's having some damn buyer's remorse. Maybe not all of them, but some, because I didn't think I was going to get hemmed up in this way. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
I have a question, and can I give 2 shout-outs?
Of course.
My question is that Republican office on Martin Luther King Drive, is the landlord able to raise the rent where we can outprice that GOP office so they can leave our neighborhood? Is that possible or a consideration?
Well, number one, the likelihood is they probably own that building. They're probably not renting it. If I know Republicans, they probably not renting that building. But if they were renting it, what you're proposing is discriminatory. So we can't co-sign for that.
Them there.
Huh?
Okay. I said, in the spirit of diversity, we need them down there.
No, it's not necessarily the spirit of diversity, but what if the Democrats put an office there, or the Nation of Islam put an office there, and because a group of people didn't like their political ideology, let's raise the rent so we price them out. So I always just say we got to be careful not to do things to people that we don't want done to us.
But we're always playing fair as a Democratic Party, right? It's like, when are we gonna just, for 1 year or one term, do what they do and to get ahead and just lead? I don't know. It's just,
I get it. I get the frustration,
but they don't do it. They don't have us over in Bayview living there. They outprice the homes over there. They take all the stores from the north side and put them somewhere else so we can go serve their. I'm driving to Brooksville now, about to go serve their community with my dollars by eating lunch out there and things like that. So it's like, I understand if they did it to us, but they are doing it to us. So I was looking at the stain in our community with that office building being there. But I guess I can look around and see the JJs and nail shops and everybody else. So it's nothing new.
But what you're proposing, we do get to fight back, but it's just how we fight. So like the taking of dollars and resources from Target, where we say we're not spending our money there. When you begin to say, okay, you're going to sit and occupy that corner on King Drive, we are now looking at members of the Republican Party as saying, so how are you creating policies that's going to help the community? And we
hold
can
them accountable.
Yeah, we can hold them accountable, because we're not going to their offices to lobby them for nothing and to ask for nothing. So no, you don't stop fighting and you don't stop working to make it fair.
Gotcha.
I appreciate what you're saying. We don't give up, and just get so upset and frustrated. We figure out how to be strategic in the way we come for people. Yeah, we can come for them, and we've demonstrated we can come for them.
My shout out is the City of Milwaukee garbage man. They just emptied my garbage. He did a really good job, and he complained how our community is putting charcoal down in the cans, and it's snuffing them out, y'all. So don't put the charcoal directly in the cans. And if you see your City of Milwaukee garbage can workers, please show them some love. And then I want to show love to the station, because after Tavis Smiley go off, whoever is in charge of those songs that come on afterwards be jamming. And it really makes my night after a long day at work. So thank you, WNOV.
That is so cool. And thank you for saying that. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Michelle.
All right, now. She said, hey.
Call me DJ Manny Main.
Change the rents so they can't come to the neighborhood. Okay, so let me do this before I get to the voting rights question that was posed yesterday. Is anybody surprised at the lack of And when I shouldn't, I'm gonna say perceived lack of coverage of the Charardai Robinson case. Is anybody surprised?
The media,
The lack of the coverage of the Charardai Robinson case.
Yeah.
National
Yeah.
coverage.
yeah, something.
Yeah,
No,
Court
but
TV is where you. I mean, it's Court TV.
yeah, that's Court TV. But
That's
like
not
CNN,
CNN,
MSNBC,
MSNBC.
Fox, or headline news.
You know, because we didn't watch the story of the lady who supposedly killed her cop husband
yeah,
100,000 times.
yeah.
Becky
Yeah.
Lou come up missing. You gonna watch that 100,000 times.
But I
And
think,
because of the gruesomeness,
yep, that's where I was about to go.
the
that's where I was about to go.
gruesomeness of this case. You know, like I haven't even talked about it because it just sickens me. And I'm scared that this dude gonna get off.
But
I am terrified this dude gonna get off. But when I tell you I have intentionally looked
Yeah.
around, because, and I'm not trying to be messed up, but the Molotov cocktail bombing for the Jewish community, yeah, you can't turn on a station, you can't look nowhere and not see like just the drum beat over and over and over. And I'm like, now had this been a white woman potentially dismembered, limbs still have not been found. Not all of her has even been located yet. And the person suspected of doing that was a brother. Would this case receive different attention? Because I got why the local media outlets chose to do live coverage. One would anticipate that the interest in this story was going to be huge. But I just don't think I've heard it on a ton of a lot of national outlets. You know, Debo said Court TV. I expect it to be on Court TV. It don't get more sensationalized than this. But a woman who potentially ran over her cop husband, boyfriend, you know, we get that play-by-play all day, the analysts, and people got to break the case down and da. And you just like, see, this is what people be talking about right here. It is a horrifically gruesome case. But the national coverage does not indicate that. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, how you doing, Michelle?
I'm good. How are you today?
I think what you were just saying, I think you would know everything that happened to both the victim and the perpetrator from the time they started kindergarten, if a black person ever did that to a white woman.
Right.
And I think we all know that. They was dig into his family history, talk about criminality that maybe that didn't have anything to do with him, like you just talked about the young man in the car. For the sister who's going to Brookfield, I would like, if she's listening, you could fight back by going to Daddy's Soul Food if you've never been there. They have excellent grilled catfish, wonderful size, and you will be spending money with a black business instead of giving your enemy your money and driving your gas out to get there. And so that, you know, I think that's more of a solution than something that, you know, like you said, is illegal.
All right. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
All right.
You know, and I'm gonna just say this too. I was listening to Karen Hunter yesterday, and they were talking in general, and she said something about, yeah, I just don't need another shea butter vendor. And I was like, what? Yeah. So what Karen was saying is we open our businesses, but we all sell the same thing. And so at some point you walk up and down the festival, or you you shop in the community, and it's this every vendor is selling pretty much the same products. And so she was saying, could we do ourselves a better service if we offered some different things? Because a part of the reason why I may go to Brookfield is because I don't have a taste for soul food today. I just want a club sandwich with bacon, lettuce, and some fries. Like, we tend to have businesses, particularly in restaurants, that do a lot of the same foods.
So is it because that's what they good at?
A lot of people you do what you know.
Yeah,
You do what you know.
So you do what you
But
know.
there are but I'm telling and I'm saying there are some black folks you good at more than cooking soul food. You can know how to cook other forms of cuisine. Will that sell? I don't know.
Yeah.
But do I have a menu that reflects diversity? And because then I can come but I don't want oxtails today. I don't want smothered chicken today. I don't want Rasta pasta. So what else is on here that is not kind of still of the same vein or feed? I'm just saying that sometimes when we going into business, we got to think about what is it that people are also buying.
Yeah.
And how many people. That's just like the thing, and call us Here I Come, but a damn barbershop on every corner. Sometimes it's 4 in the same 2-block radius. And some of it is like, was there really a need for your barbershop, bruh or sis? Or you just wanted independence and didn't want to work in somebody else's shop? So now you got 12 steady customers, 20 steady customers versus foot traffic that's being created. If we got more people, I don't know, but I just know that I've always paid attention to that too. That, why everybody got to have their own shop. Everybody got to have their own barbershop. Like, it's, I don't know. But anyway, I see your face. Go ahead, and then we'll get these callers.
Well, yeah, I mean, just with the barbershops, it's the booth fees, man, that's driving some of these guys and into starting their own business, because with the booth fees that you're paying a month, you might as well pay rent on the building.
Well, yes and no, because and I don't know, and I know G got a 30th anniversary coming up. I can ask him about it. But is a booth fee more expensive than actually having your own brick and mortar, renting space, paying utilities, paying lights, paying to get the floors and stuff clean, the bathroom toilet paper? Is booth rent more expensive than paying for everything that goes into running a barbershop?
Well, if you're
gonna do it right.
Well,
if some of y'all barbershops look raggedy than a mug, but go ahead.
Well, if you are good, then if you look at the long term, then yeah, it would pan out, because they charging like $40, $50, almost $60. Some is up to $100 a haircut. So it's like you gonna make your money, because these prices are ridiculous. And then especially for these guys that's going out to the clubs and they want to get the late night haircuts, man, them cuts is almost $150 for a cut, just so you can go out to the club and do nothing, stand around. And
again, is that booth rent more than it costs to run your own?
I hear you.
I just wonder.
Yeah.
But the other thing is oversaturation of a product.
Yeah.
And that is more the point.
Yeah.
Oversaturation.
Yeah.
And somebody hit me back and they said, I work in Brookfield. Hold on. 1219. I work in Brookfield for the caller, and I do support Daddy Soul Food on a regular. So they said, but while you doing that, remind daddies to run commercials on WNOV. Now I will say, sis, they'll be like, well, do the restaurants that you go to in Brookfield run commercials.
On
Oh, you know,
WB.
let's go to the phone line. Man, I love us.
Oh,
I love
boy.
us because you gonna get smacked.
Oh.
Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle. This is Angela.
Hey, Angela. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm blessed, and yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Good morning, Mr. Rideout.
Good morning, Angela. How are you?
I'm well, and yourself?
Well, you know, I can't complain at all.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's a great thing.
That's jubilant. Amen.
Jubilant.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a new word.
But if Mr. Debo's in there, tell him I said good morning. If he's not, you all relay that message to him.
Yes, ma'am. He walking around in the building. He hear you.
Okay. So what I'm calling about is the Charardai trial.
Yes.
The more I look and listen about that, all they talking about is that young lady, how the drugs was in her house and it was locked up in the safe. That's ain't important. What's important is that young lady's life been took. And the way he cut her up and can't find her head and other body parts. You know, I'm like you, Michelle. I feel like he may get off too. But I feel for that young man. I really do, because he really won't have to answer to God for all that he's done.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, the whole
And
muddying
if
up.
he make it on the streets.
Well, that's what Jermaine had just said. Yeah. But the whole muddying up of Charardai Robinson's personal life is so that you can create doubt. When she left this man's house, did she encounter somebody who, you know, wanted to do her harm because of a drug deal or because of other things in her lifestyle? So all of those things that are being introduced about her that are negative are to create doubt about who else could be involved in harming her.
But didn't they say that she didn't have anything in her system?
They talk about was in her house.
What? I mean, yeah.
They said she had no alcohol
Yeah, she had
or
nothing
drugs in her system.
Yeah.
When they did the little
Nothing but caffeine.
Yeah, caffeine that was in.
Right.
So you trying to paint the picture of drugs in the house really is not relevant because it's not even in her system.
But it doesn't. You don't have to be using it. You can be
selling it.
Selling it. You can be holding somebody money.
She
You
went
can
to
be.
school.
I mean, again, let's not act like, and I'm not in any way trying to say anything crazy about Charardai. I'm just saying what they're trying to do. Ali Sadiq said, you know, in his comedy, I worked at the grocery store taking carts out, but I had $18,000 in drug money in a shoebox in my house. But I had to go to work at the store so that my mama wouldn't look crazy because I'm spending money that she know I don't have no job for. So it's not like, you know, people can't be doing multiple things. You can go to work and still be a drug dealer.
I get it.
In fact,
But
some
let
of
me
my
ask you a
friends that was
question,
drug
Michelle.
dealers went to work every day.
That's true, because it's a cover up.
Yeah. So
for her situation,
you know, but the whole point of it is they trying to muddy up this young lady,
right?
So they can create doubt that there were other people that wanted to do her harm. That's the whole
But
point.
let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Since they said they found the drugs in her home, they didn't say if they belonged to her. They don't know who the drugs belong to.
She stayed by herself, didn't she?
That
but
part,
that, just like you said, Jermaine, that don't mean she could have been holding it for somebody.
Yeah.
That don't mean they were hers.
No, this whole thing is intended to discredit
smear,
her,
yeah.
to smear.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
To make that white boy look good.
Right.
That's all it is, because he's white.
And you know, what I'm really having a hard time with, you know, with the defense thing is they asking if there was any blood in the house, if they heard if his roommate heard any screaming or anything like that. And he just said he just heard a suitcase been, you know, dragged down the steps.
Dragged down the hall.
5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. And what the defense is trying to say is, well, if you don't have, okay, yes, she is deceased, but there's no proof that he killed her. And I'm like, well, why would he be in the area where her car is being set on fire
and catching the bus?
Why are you over in that area with the same clothes, getting on the bus in that same area where her car was caught on fire when you was the last person with her
to see her.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
I think that this will be a situation where a lot of circumstantial evidence will have to be what's used to convict him.
Exactly.
Because they are definitely going out of their way to say, did you find blood in the home? No, did you find this? Did you find that? But then they got the pictures of her laying face down on his couch that he took of her, inappropriately touching her. But then people even tried to explain in terms of the autopsy that you're going to see blood differently if the person is dismembered after they're already
Dead,
deceased.
right? Because the blood is no longer flowing.
Yeah, so it will look and present very differently. But no, Angela, thank you for raising that flag about the way they are trying to muddy up this woman's
Yeah.
personal, history to create doubt about the defense. I got to go to break, but I appreciate
All right.
you. Thank you,
All
sis.
right. Y'all have a blessed day.
All right, you too. All right, family, let me take a quick break. I'll be right back.
AURN News.
Since returning to the White House, President Trump has made rolling back diversity a top priority, cutting back Black history programs, canceling MLK Day celebrations, and only welcoming white South African, quote, refugees. His Justice Department is now investigating Chicago's Black mayor after he spoke proudly about hiring Black staff. And yet, it was voters of color, especially Black and Latino men, who helped fuel Trump's comeback win. During his inauguration speech on MLK Day, Trump thanked Black and Hispanic communities for what he called a, quote, tremendous outpouring of love and trust. And exit polls show he made gains among Black men and won a majority of Latino male voters. So here's the question. Do some Black voters regret backing Donald Trump? There's no clear polling yet, but it's a question many may be asking as Trump's policies appear to reward the rich while sidelining racial equity. For AURN News, I'm Jamie Jackson.
Here's your updated forecast. We'll see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms possible late today. Otherwise, increasing cloud cover with a high in the mid 80s. Winds out of the south increased around 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 35. For tonight, a chance for showers and storms, cloudy, a low near 57. By Wednesday, a chance for rain showers early on, cloudy, high of 62 degrees. Thursday, partial sunshine, high of 69. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on AM 860, The Voice.
Are you struggling with child support issues? We are here to help. Whether you're dealing with order modifications, arrears repayment, or need help with your case, we are just a call away. Connect with Milwaukee County Child Support Services at 414-340-0247. Our team is ready to provide you with resources to modify your order, clear old warrants, assist with employment search, or help you understand the details of your case. Don't wait. Let us get your child support issues back on track. Call 414-340-0247 today.
Still looking for something for Dad this Father's Day? Stop by Fleet Farm and get him a gift he really wants at the best price guaranteed. Like Columbia apparel and footwear, now 25% off. Or get him a Wildview video trail cam for just $29.99. And what dad wouldn't love a Milwaukee M12 5-tool combo kit for under $200? For these and more last-minute Father's Day deals, stop by your local Fleet Farm or check out our latest weekly ad at fleetfarm.com.
It's almost time for Summerfest, Milwaukee's biggest party on the lakefront with over 600 artists across 3 weekends, including Key Glock, Ken Carson, Lil Tecca, plus Juicy, Big X the Plug, Bryson Tiller, K-Cam, Mariah the Scientist, and more. Don't miss Milwaukee Summerfest presented by American Family Insurance on June 20 through 22, June 27 through 29, and July 4 through 6. Get tickets now at summerfest.com.
In times of crisis,
Now, back to Say Something Real with your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. Taking a moment to talk about the Charardai Robinson case. One of the things I'm raising is, something that we talk about frequently in the Black community, how when things horrific happen in our community, how they're covered, how they're treated. Local media has certainly been engaged and on top of this case, even running live, information from the courthouse. And paying attention to the national coverage of the case. And one of the previous callers, I see you, I'm coming right away. But one of the previous callers, referenced her frustration with the work that was being done by the defense to raise questionable doubt about if someone else may have committed this crime. That is the job of the defense, to be clear. But I still understand the frustration. So to reference the specific part, during the trial where this has come up, there was a search done of Robinson's apartment, and I'm taking this directly from Fox News. After a brief recess, the state recalled Milwaukee County Sheriff's Officer Detective Joseph Blanchard and the MCSO Detective Kayla Burke, or I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. Burke was one of the people who went to Robinson's apartment as a part of a wellness check after Robinson was reported missing. Detectives said they found marijuana and pills locked in a safe in Robinson's apartment. The pills field tested positive for methamphetamines, but they were not sent to the state crime lab. Judge Laura Covello allowed that evidence in as Anderson's defense team tried to suggest someone else could be responsible for Robinson's death. No drugs were found in Robinson's system. This is not a case about drugs, said Verona Swanigan, the Robinson family attorney. The police testified that the drugs were irrelevant, that the murder was not in any way associated to drugs. The investigation flushed out it was not related to drugs, and to bring up drugs that have never been tested, so we don't even know if they were actually drugs. It is highly prejudicial to the victim, and it is a red herring to the jury. So that was the portion of the proceedings in which just so we clear, the search of her apartment didn't happen after they had interviewed Anderson and, went and figured out everything. It was a missing person report because she didn't show up for work, and friends and coworkers were concerned about her going to her apartment to do a wellness check. But this was the one thing I did find interesting is that, and I just didn't hear the full context of it. When the police go to do a wellness check, why are you inside of her locked safe?
That's what I was waiting for you to come to me.
Why are you inside of, because you said the safe was locked. How you end up getting into it?
Listen here, Cheryl. First of all, when police come to do a wellness check, they come check the house to see if you're in the house laying there in distress.
Right.
They don't go through your stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, but you said it was locked.
It's locked. So in order for you to get into it, you got to break into it.
So did you have a warrant to go into this woman's safe?
And I'm
looking at Judge Crivello, like, Judge Crivello, why would you allow that to be used in court? Because ain't nobody gonna question how they got the information about what was in the safe.
Shell, listen, if you get pulled over in the car, right, and they don't have the right to search your car and find something in your car, after they don't have the right to search your car, that's not even brought into evidence because it's illegal search and seizure.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that part of it was what stood out, and that's why I wanted to go back and find the actual, inference and when it first arises, because I'm like, it was a locked safe.
It's locked. It's secure.
So how do you know in Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office what's inside of a locked safe?
And why would you go to this particular safe and open it up looking for her? She's not in the safe. See what I'm saying? So why would you even open the safe?
And even if they say, "Oh, we were looking for clues in case there might have been harm,"
It's not in the safe.
But it was a locked safe.
It's a locked safe.
So how do you? And I'm just looking at the judge, like, Judge.
But you know what the judge is doing.
Yeah, the judge is trying to help, because I'm like, Judge, unless you know more than we understand, why would you allow this in?
Come on, man.
Why would you allow it in? Because there ought to be a question. And I'm even looking at Verona Swanigan, the attorney for the family, like, can we get the police on the stand? They understand how y'all know that safe, what was inside that safe.
Ask them that, because
why was you inside of a locked safe?
That's illegal search.
What the hell was you doing? Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello? Caller?
Going once.
Okay,
twice.
Let's get somebody else. Hey,
Good morning.
caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle. Thanks for taking my call.
Good morning. Good
Some of those
morning.
points that you just raised was one of the points that I was going to make up.
Okay.
A wellness check. Why you not? I mean, that have nothing to do with it. They did interviewed enough people about her personality. And
You know what?
character.
It's hard to hear you. Are you on speaker or you sound muffled?
Okay, no, I'm not on speaker.
Okay, now you sound better. Go ahead.
Okay. Why they've done a character reference on her, and it's nothing but good. And I think some of the things that we raise that we should kind of, maybe not put so much light on. You could live a double life and all this kind of stuff. But I think the young lady, I'm going to get on this guy now. He looks very disturbed. He looks like he's suffering from some mental issues, okay? He comes from a very wealthy family that got him out of the house. And some of the charges on his record deal with interaction with his family members. So now, yeah, they paying for a good defense for him, but they didn't pay to get him out of jail to come stay in their house, did they? So they know there's something wrong with the young man. So if they let him get off, it's going to be somebody else that this is going to happen to. And I thought I heard earlier that a young lady had got away from his apartment because he was acting weird and stuff. Where is she at now?
Have not seen that. I had heard that early in the beginning, but I haven't seen a lot more about that other individual.
And then what about the blood on the walls? And that house was more bloodier than that. And how do you
They said it wasn't her blood, though. Yeah, but that was the thing. They said it wasn't her blood, but they never said whose blood it was.
Whose blood it was.
Or was it
Or
human
what's going on.
blood?
Just like Jeffrey Dahmer. People, as a child coming up, he displayed various behaviors. He could have killed this girl any place. He didn't have to kill her in his house. And like you said, once you once you kill a person, the blood is not flowing, and this, that, and the other. And yes, it's the defense job to shine a bad light on her. But I hope that jury is looking in a whole lot deeper and not falling for the okie doke.
Right.
Because number one, he was the last one to see her alive. And
Yeah.
that's just my point.
No,
And as
thank you.
far as us spending money in our community, I haven't heard a lot of talk about our Juneteenth. And did I understand that Trump is saying he don't want any celebration?
Who said they don't want any celebration?
Your president.
Oh, well, he's not doing anything to acknowledge, just like they didn't acknowledge Black History Month. Yeah, Trump is definitely, it's a DEI thing for him, not American history. So no, he's not allowing a lot of the federal agencies to take part in any of these celebrations.
And you know something? I thought we lived in a place where we have freedom of speech, freedom of expression. What happened? What's going on? We better start wising up. We better get together before they cut people off the radio and find a way to start communicating and pulling our resources together and stop worrying about them. Let's do like they do us. Here's all the action over here. But we're really getting together, doing the things that we need to do for our community and for ourselves, because it's going to get ugly. Thank you for taking my call.
All right, thank you, appreciate it. Got another caller on the line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, good morning. How y'all doing?
Good morning. How you doing?
All right. So they ended up going to her apartment twice. So the first time they did a wellness check, that's when the female black detective and another officer walked in. They kind of looked around. Okay, we don't see much here. The apartment's a little messy, as a young person apartment would be, and they left. But when the body parts started to show up, they ended up getting a search warrant and coming back again. And that's when they broke in the safe. And, once they got a search warrant,
okay,
they can do just about anything.
Yeah, no, now you put in perspective on what was going on. Okay, great.
Yeah, but, my pastor taught us that, every day you write your obituary, and something just as innocent as, smoking a little weed with your friends or having a little weed. If something happens to you that's tragic or bad, somebody on the other side will bring that up and try to drag you through the mud. I mean, the majority of Americans, all of us, have smoked a little weed at one time. But something that innocent in a trial can be brought up because they try to, the defense, that's what they get paid to do. But he's trying to make it seem like, oh, well, maybe she was a drug dealer or maybe she owed somebody some drug money and they got a hold to her and killed her because she had some weed in her safe. It was like, man, that's a stretch. But, they hired him and he's hired to get, the old boy off. So that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, no, that's definitely it. Somebody had hit me up and they said that they also were concerned that the state, or not concerned, but they said it seems like the state may have withheld the information about the drugs in the safe until close to the trial. And the defense ended up having to arguing to get that information so that they could use it. That possibly, was a thing as well. So it'll be interesting to see how any of that plays out. And again, I'm still trying to figure out the jury makeup because I know there are 2 African Americans on the jury, which is kind of crazy, given that the case is in Milwaukee County. And when because I still didn't ever figure out who were the alternates or who will be the alternates, how that process works. Could those 2 or one of those 2 end up actually being an alternate and not even actually being a part of the 12 that will deliberate and make a decision about this trial? Because there are 3. Right. And so that's what I'm saying. So everybody's going to hear the information, but then there will be a decision made about who will actually be the 12 that, will, or they may already know, I don't know how it works, but who will be those 12. But again, that piece about, the jury. But what did I say? And I was glad I got updated information and corrected that jury pool is taken from DOT records. So when our licenses ain't right, when we don't have IDs, we not in the jury pool. Just like when I said before, it used to be connected to voting, in some states, some municipalities rely on voting rolls. If you don't vote, you're not a part of the pool. And not getting out of jury duty when these people call you. Because the minute we get the summons, everybody start trying to figure out how not to serve. Yeah. Yes, Jay.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Shell, anybody that knows the street game knows, and I'm hoping that the prosecution would really, really, really bank on this. Nobody's going to kill you and chop you up over a little weed and pills. You only get that type of situation when you moving birds and when you moving splits and all this other stuff, because it's worth. If I owe you, I'm not worried about you killing me unless it's a substantial amount of money that I owe you, and then get killed of that how she was killed. That's not a person that's selling a little weed or whatever the case is. That's not.
And come on. This is such a vile crime.
Yeah.
And I hate to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Ain't nobody doing that to you over no weed.
Come on, man.
And if they kill you, people and let's just say it was like a lot of drugs. People will just go ahead and burn you up. We see people be burnt up in garbage cans.
Exactly.
Burnt up in your car, shot up a whole bunch of times. Black folks just ain't cutting up and killing people like that.
Because it's too gruesome.
We're not doing that.
It's too gruesome.
We're not doing that. Like, I'm getting ready to mess around and just have like your body parts like I said, they still have not found this child's head yet.
Or neck.
Yeah. But we just don't do that.
And we're not gonna ride around.
Even
with
though
the
they,
body
you
parts
know,
like
tried
that,
to
man.
offer up, what was his name down in Atlanta, who they said was killing little boys. Man, what was that brother's name? Williams Gacy. Not William Gacy. Was it William Gacy? Whatever that brother's name is, because we was like, we ain't even serial killers like that.
Yeah.
We don't move in certain ways, and people was like, oh no, the dude down in Atlanta, and people still believe that black man got set up down in Atlanta.
Of course.
That he did not kill all them little black kids down there, little black boys down in Atlanta. But yeah, the level, like, this rises to something totally different.
Yeah,
this is not retribution for a drug deal gone wrong, especially when you talk about it. Clearly wasn't nothing of significance found in that safe for real.
Exactly.
It wasn't. I mean, come on now, they would have told you. So, and her bank account, her movements, her habits, her vehicle, her shopping, something else would have been reflected if she was moving around real money.
Exactly.
You would see it. It would show up somewhere. Even in my house, if I don't have a paper trail, when you come to my house and you
gonna
flip,
see something.
you're gonna see some bread somewhere. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hello.
Take us off speaker, please.
Okay, sweetheart.
All right.
Hi. I have a lot of feelings about this case, and I guess number one that comes to me is it's a hate crime, and that has not been brought up. Your typical South Side guy raised and, on the South Side where they have all the hatred and everything for us. And I just believe that it took a lot of rage and everything just to do the things that he did to our sweet sister. This reminds me of really slavery, where we were castrated and burned and, killed like in the manner in those days. And that's what I believe it was, a hate crime. I was hoping, I know Veronica Swanica, she's a great lawyer. I don't know how they could have, I don't know how they could prove this, but that's what I believe it focuses on. And I do believe that the news stations are just setting this thing up for a movie, like they did Dahmer. What's going to happen, this guy's going to end up famous. They'd have cleaned him up, cut his hair, and with the jury, with the makeup of 12 jurors, all women, and 2 minorities. I don't even know what the minority makeup is. These are women sitting there and they're looking at their son, or they're, having this feeling of being pitiful, or, the way they've done. I just think that this trial is not going to have a good outcome. What do you think, Michelle?
I'm worried. I am worried. I think the jury makeup, racial demographic makeup of the jury is a concern. I think that, whether they are able to raise doubt about physical evidence actually being connected to him, I think that the circumstantial case is strong. And we have seen people be convicted on circumstantial evidence. But as we know, it only takes one person on that jury to say, I don't think, I think that something else could have happened, and he gets to walk. So I honestly am on the fence about how this whole thing will go. And the jury makeup does not, and let me be clear, it's not just that I think we need all black people on the jury. I'm not saying that, but to your point about people being able to look out and see their son, their family member, you would pray for people to be impartial, but our experience has taught us too many times that it does not go the way it should go. So,
and especially with women.
Yes.
Women were emotional, and so all women see their sons and their grandsons. Our sons can be the worst people in the world and be doing the worst things in the world, like they are in the community here. And then grandmas will hide them. They won't turn them, that kind of a thing. So that's why I think with this jury makeup, we're really in trouble. Now, what do you think? What do you think? What I said about a hate crime?
So look, I'm up against the break. I'll address that on the other side of the break. Just listen up for me, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate your call. All right, family, let me take a quick break. I'll be right back.
with your host, Michelle Bryant, on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. I got callers that held through the break. I'm going to get them. Let me just answer the question that was posed to me about the racial aspect of the Charardai Robinson crime and if it could be considered a hate crime. Right now, I don't think that they have been able to make any direct correlations to racist ideology or racist leanings of the person that's been accused of killing her. Um, so I'm sure they went back and they scrubbed his social media if he had a social media presence. They met on a dating app or some kind of chat or something. So I'm sure that people have tried to look for those patterns to figure out if he was targeting women of color, if he was targeting Black women specifically. They have not been able to, from everything that we understand, and with Verona Swanigan being his attorney. People may remember Verona ran to be the district attorney against John Chisholm. This is a sister that is extremely conscious, capable. If that thread could be made, I would think that Verona would have been able to draw that line. Even if other people didn't bring it up, that she would have been able to draw that line. So that's the thing right now, is that there's not enough information, or it appears evidence to support linking this to be a race, or I'm sorry, a hate crime. Let me go to the phone line. Hey caller, what's happening? Hello.
Hey, since you're dubbing over this Ray Marcus, I want to say good morning to the #1 radio station in the country.
What's happening, Ray? How you doing this morning?
Hey, Meech, where you at? Where you at, Meech? Meech, where you at, man? Meech, Meech, where you at? I got a rat trap set for you. Meech, where you at? Used to be my homie, now you act like you don't know me. Meech, where you at? How you gonna diss the #1 station in the country? Use a mark. That's why you don't hang out in the dark. Use a mark. Hey, Meech, you cannot diss the Michelle Bryant show, fool. You cannot diss.
Right.
Hey, man, you can't do that to Michelle Bryant. She never.
Bye, Ray.
Ray, back into the
Oh, Jesus.
I love that dude.
Dude,
Man.
there's something wrong with Ray. Let me go to the next caller. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Ray Mack and I'm high.
Hey, caller. Hello.
Going once, going twice.
Go.
3 times a day.
All right.
Oh, then he just chimed in right there.
Oh, really?
But it was when I pushed the button.
Hey, call us back, caller. Call us back. Okay. So let me do this. People have reached out about the Voting Rights Act, the VRA, as a lot of people just quickly reference it, and wanted to understand. We got the caller back. Okay, let me see if we got them before I get into this whole discussion. All right. Hey, caller.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing today?
Good. I got disconnected a little bit. So, just a real question.
You got to turn your radio down or take us off speaker if that's what you got going on.
Okay, is that better?
Because it's hard to hear you.
Okay, here we go. Okay. No echo, right? All right.
Yeah, I think we're good. Let's try it.
So this case is so heartfelt, right? You said a lot of things here. And I want to just first mention that this case was delayed for more than one reason. Okay. The jury in itself, that is a no-go. The prosecution should not have allowed it. I know 3 people who was turned away who were Black. Okay. With that being said, the hate crime piece, nowhere close yet. It was pretty much that predatory date rape situation that just this suspect does have some history if you really dive into it. I think that'll come out as well as far as people who knew him and going all the way back from his education piece. I want to touch on something in this case. The second search that was said that was able to allow to break into that safe. Well, that evidence still is inadmissible, and the attorney, the Swanigan, should not have allowed it. Did not fight against it.
Yeah, no, she did fight against it. I actually read her comments in the when I read the comments from the trial. She did. Judge Crivello allowed it in. Swanigan doesn't have the ability to stop it. She can protest. That's what she did. The judge ultimately made the decision to allow it in.
Well, even before it hit the court, okay, that discovery, you should have. You have to fight against that net discovery piece. Okay. Anyway, going a little further, the jurors that were turned away, 3 jurors, black, 2 female, 1 male. That shouldn't have happened. Okay. This case here, and I'm gonna tell you, it's a lot of interest convergence right now going on. This case is set up to not be in the favor of the Robinson family. Okay. And this goes back to the prosecution all the way to the defense and everything in between. Okay. Just wanted to put that out there.
All right. Thank you.
And I expect more from this attorney here. And real quick, is this the same attorney that had the Val Phillips, got caught in that Val Phillips lie?
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. I'll relax right there.
Okay. All right. Thank you, bro. I appreciate the call. Let me just say this, on jury selection, it's a whole bunch of reasons why people get excluded from juries. I know I've been excluded from, jury service. At least, I think I've only been called 3 times in my life. Twice? I never made it into the actual, okay, we need you kind of phase. And then when I finally did get back there, by the time they got done asking me some of the, preliminary questions just about me, and they, were doing this about the jury in general. Do you know the district attorney? Do you know blah, blah, blah? Yep, I do. Yep, I do. Do you know? And I think the case that I was there was about human trafficking, quite frankly. And it was like, do you know anything about human trafficking? Yeah, I was one of the founding members of the Human Trafficking Task Force. Yeah, you gotta go. you gotta go.
For one, but the other
so,
part of it is you're too high profile, if you will.
Well, nobody knew that part, but the thing is, by the time I get done answering, and these are questions that were being asked of all the jurors, prospective jurors. Some of them did become a little bit more focused once I said, because they like raise your hand. If I raised my hand, then they would ask me a few more questions. And then by the time I was done, I was like, yeah, you ain't getting on the jury.
You can go.
But the thing that's funny too, is I was sitting there, I was like, because I know how to answer these questions to most likely stay on this jury. Like, that was the other part that was like really kind of janky, is I felt like I could have just answered differently, not lied, but answered differently to be able to stay on this thing.
And then once it all came out that Michelle sat on this, she was, and so y'all didn't ask her if she was, it would have turned into a thing.
I could have said, I was one of the founding members of the Human Trafficking Task Force, but I still have the ability, because people say it all the time, but do you have the ability to be fair? I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get do you have the ability to be fair?
Mm-hmm.
It was just, no, she struck, and then you get some challenges. I think they can just strike you and they don't even have to give a reason.
Don't like the way you dressed today.
Yep, strike him. Let me try to squeeze these other folks in. Somebody was telling me that they believe that the original jury pool was like as high as possibly as 100 people. Then they whittle it down to 30 and then on down to the final 12. So you start out, like I said, if you've ever done it and you've been walked through the courthouse like, little soldiers and kids at school, you understand what this process can be like. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello?
Yes. Great rising to you, Michelle, Ride Out, and Debo, and all the live chatters. Michelle,
man,
I want to ask Ride Out also. Now, I heard, okay, his daddy is rich. I also heard his dad owns a law firm. But tell me, Michelle, how were they able to wash that house down and sell it before God got the news?
Lord have mercy.
Now, that's one of my grandma's sayings, Michelle. Oh, man, he did it before God got the news. But Michelle, he did. How did he wash and sell that house that fast?
Well, the authorities had to release the house. They had to say, we've done everything we need to do. We've gone through it 2-3 times. We feel confident that we've gotten all the information. Had the authorities not released that house from the investigation, they couldn't have moved forward with the sale. So, we just got to appreciate that.
What was the timeline between the first limb, if you will, being found and that whole piece taking place with the house?
It was months.
Because wasn't there a lapse in there somewhere to where they were able to get in there and do some different things?
Like I said, I know they went in there multiple times, and I'm looking for it right now. But thank you for the call, ma'am. I understand.
Michelle,
yes, ma'am.
Michelle, one more thing.
Uh-huh.
I want to say this. If there's any movie watchers out there, watch that movie called Your Honor. It's called Your Honor. I mean, this here is just, this is awful. Because what they're trying to, we already know they're going to try to run the mentally ill thing. And you got to be crazy to sit there and chop somebody up. The white folks do that. We know that. All right, Michelle, thank you so much for taking my call, y'all. Y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you.
White folks do that. We know that. The one got me was before God got the news.
Okay, so I just pulled it up on the house sale. Okay, the home of the man accused of killing and dismembering 19-year-old Charardai Robinson has been sold. Now, this story was May 15th, 2024. But the new owner had no idea that was the other thing. The new owner had no idea that the property was involved in such a high-profile case. 2-story duplex on South 39th Street. Let me see. But the day before Charardai Robinson would have turned 20, the man charged with killing and dismembering her sold his home. So it was about because she went missing in April, his house got sold on May 10th.
Now, is that common? Because we don't know if the homicide happened there, but for it to be speculations that homicide happened in that house, is that common for that house? Now, I heard that his dad, have some type of power. So is that true?
Yeah, his parents, and I'll go back because I do remember something about his parents having some means or something. Let me see. They said that the sellers said authorities had recently come back to the property and opened the basement floor to get access to a drain pipe. Earlier this month, the sheriff's office said any home sale wouldn't impact the criminal investigation. Yeah, that's crazy. So it was a short amount of time. She was found April 1st or something like that. April 2nd. The house was sold within about 35 days. That's
real suspect.
Thinking it was crazy when I saw it.
Yeah, that's alarming.
And for the sheriff's office to say, well, we got access to the property, but still new owners come in, they can start doing stuff to the property. And again, Yeah.
So who was the home sold to? Was it anybody who
No, somebody
was
who had no idea
affiliated
what.
with?
No, somebody who had no idea what had happened there, didn't know anything.
Or I mean, that's what they say.
Probably reduced for quick sales.
You know, that's what they say. So,
Listen, it's a person who worked for the buyers in the private sale, and there isn't a connection between the parties.
man.
They had no idea the property was linked to the case until closing on Friday, when the family had showed up to do that memorial.
So why would you still buy the house?
Well,
I mean, you got a whole family that's showing up.
But you know what? But it's a private buyer, so we don't even know if it's somebody that's getting ready to live in the property or just use it as rental property.
I get it, but who?
So they don't care.
No, but I'm saying, who in their right mind? Who in their right mind would purchase a property that a family is showing up? They're pretty much turning that area into a makeshift memorial because that's where their loved one was killed at. Who in their right mind would buy property and live in it?
But again, you assuming that it's going to be an individual that's going to live in the property. It could have been like we see people come in and buy up houses all the time. You know, hey, we'll buy your house in any kind of condition because they're just going to turn it into a rental property.
I just wonder, did they get fair market value or did they go below value for quick sale?
Sure, on a quick sale like that, they probably did go fast on that.
So was they going to tear it down? Because I heard that it was rumors that they wanted to tear it down.
No, it ain't going nowhere.
Well, I mean, I know people wanted it torn down.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I heard.
I don't know that the new buyers bought it to tear it down.
Yeah, and they're not obligated to.
Yeah, but the likelihood is that it probably, because you got to be hard pressed to live in Milwaukee and not have heard some of the grumbles.
Come on, man.
Or the neighbors, somebody was going to tell you, like, you know, house was suspected of being.
Why is the news out here in front of my house all the time? Oh, you didn't know?
Why is there flowers and signs of a? Come on, man. I just something is real rotten in Denmark. Something is real rotten. I don't care what nobody say, man. Because for a home to be sold that quick,
all right, let me get this. Is this a caller for me?
Nah.
Okay. All right. So look, I will do the Voting Rights Act conversation, the VRA tomorrow. And this is a subject I wish I could get Judge Taylor in on. She has been somebody that has fought tooth and nail about how the VRA is not acknowledged, respected, employed, even when we talk about voting rights in the state of Wisconsin, district lines being drawn, redistricting, that whole 9 yards. But it's a lengthy conversation. I can't work it in today. Let me just say I appreciate the bros in the studio and the folks who listen and called in today to make the show go. Appreciate y'all. Talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.